Greetings from China, everyone. I'm Stephanie and welcome to my channel. You might be wondering, why are you all dressed up like this? Well. Today marks the Wushu and Kongfu Day. This event was first introduced in 2018. So I thought I would dedicate this episode to those who want to learn one or two things about martial arts, specifically about Taiji. Because despite I'm no expert when it comes to martial arts, I did spend several years practicing Taiji. Now, let's get started. First things first, in English you say Taiji, in Chinese we say Taiji. Now, this attire I'm wearing, we call them Taiji Fu. This is the traditional and the most basic one, though you don't need to dress up like this to practice Taiji. However, you seldom see people wearing leggings or super fit clothes when they are practicing Taiji. It's always those looser ones. Now, for practicing Taiji or practicing martial arts or practicing Kung Fu, we often say 打拳 or 练拳. Now, 打 means this. This is 打拳. And 练拳, 练 literally means practice. For Taiji, you say 打太极拳 or 打太极, or you can say 练拳. Both okay. Now, I know your question. You're wondering, how can you practice Taiji? Well, I'm going to share with you the 4 basics out of the 8 basics. These are things that you need to know, and if you are practicing Taiji, you will actually hear about it every single day. They are 捧, 捋, 击, 按. If you translate them into English, it can be understood as ward off, roll back, press forward, and push downward. But is that all to it? Well, I'm going to show you very briefly in motion. From my understanding, any strengths that come from downward to upward and has the idea of expanding, that would include 捧进. So something like this, something like this, something like this. These are all can be summarized as 捧进. So the idea is when someone trying to kick you or trying to punch you and you block them. So that's why I guess it's translated as ward off. For 捋, sometimes you see motions like this, and that's relatively easy to understand. I would say that maybe imagine you are in the tug of war, but instead of doing this, and you do this, so it's always open palm. But don't do this, okay? Just act naturally, but have the idea and imagine that flow. Often you see an open palm and the other is also open palm. Put it on the wrist, you press it. Now, 击 and 按 has a similar strength because you always feel the push idea. So for 按, it's always go something like this, and something like this. And when you wrap up your entire exercise, sometimes you will do this. The idea is this is a great time for you to adjust your breathing and restore your strength. So you feel like exhale when you are doing this. And of course, when you are practicing more than often, you see that strength comes when it goes to downward and then push forward. So that is 按. Well, so that's a very basic understanding of 捧, 捋, 击, 按. 沉肩, 坠肘, 含胸, 拔背. These are the body gestures when practicing Taiji. This sounds very complicated, but I'll show you what that means. So 沉肩, basically don't do this. You don't want to practice like this. So relax your shoulder along with your elbow. So when you do some motions like this, don't do like this, but relax your elbow. Make sure the strength comes from within. It's like a natural flow. It creates this great circle. Now, 含胸拔背, it doesn't mean you need to do this, but never puff out. No, this is a no. Like never puff out your chest when practicing Taiji. Instead, you should feel the natural stance when you are standing there. So don't go overly confident and don't be like so timid, but stand relaxing and making sure that your entire body is very flexible. So it allows you to do different motions and making sure all the strength will flow in your body to create this beautiful circle that will go a long way when you're practicing Taiji. So one last critical rule before I wrap up this episode, which is 下盘要稳. So 下盘 means the legs and the feet. And 要稳 means to need to be steady. So the theory and the idea behind the whole force and strength in Taiji is the idea that these force and strength come from the earth. So by standing on the ground, you need to make sure that you stand there so solidly that nobody can actually push you. The idea of standing on the ground and be steady and be steadfast is crucial when you're practicing Taiji. So to help you to do that, you can 蹲马步, you can practice 蹲马步. Let me tell you, it seems very easy until you try it, you know how painstaking that can be. 梅花桩 is another approach to see if you will fall off from that. It's more like practicing your balance skills. Game up would be combine them together, practice your 蹲马步 on 梅花桩, and good luck with that. On the note of that, I'll wrap up today's episode, and I'll see you next time, and happy Wushu and Kongfu Day. Ta-da!